may I present to you one of the coolest things I saw actually at talks, and that's why I'm actually heralding for this one. And it's actually about getting here to Y from more than 500 kilometers by bike. It will be really a cool story. I just did 200-ish kilometer from Antwerp, but this is a completely other story. So may I have a really amazing applause for the one and the only Magdom. Thank you.
Hi. Thank you very much. So, about the backstory, as you might have heard, or as you might have seen in the past, I also cycled with a few people from where I live or close to where I live to different camps, that being the CCC camp or the MCH last time in the Netherlands. And last time we cycled, it was to the CCC camp. I thought, could I maybe do it in one go? And the question that I also posed here as the title of my talk, why would I do such a thing? And if I find the answer, I will tell you. But what I can tell you is it was very I was scared. Not scared, but I had a huge respect from the distance. I didn't know if I could do it. I've never done something similar before. With that said, I've done 300 kilometers in one day, but I barely scraped by. And I thought, okay, let's see if I can do it. If 570 is a thing, right? I wouldn't be the first one to do it. So in terms of ultra cycling, it's not even. I wouldn't say it's not worth mentioning, because whenever you reach or break a limit of yourself, it's certainly worth mentioning. But there are people who've done much worse, much worse, or better, however you might mention it. So in terms of an achievement in itself, surely it sounds impressive, but people have done more. So why shouldn't I be able to do it, right? Let's give it a try. So I trained like an idiot. I prepared everything, and here I will talk about what went right, what went wrong, where I should have prepared more, where I did over-prepare, what I should have done differently. So my lesson, I want to share my lessons learned, and hopefully in the end also inspire you to try something where you're not really sure if you can do it or not. Give it a try, you might as well surprise yourself. Spoiler, I didn't do the full 560 kilometers, which was the plan. I did only, in very big air quotes, 470, which is okay in my book. I don't consider it a failure, I consider it a room for improvement. Okay, so first of all, the preparation. I mean, first of all, there are multiple aspects to preparation. The one is the physical preparation, building up the endurance, building up the power for those of you that are bike nerds. And it's gone. That's fine. No worries. Yeah, that should hold. That looks good. Should have done that like that in the first place. Anyway, so preparation. It's about the physical preparation. It's about the preparation of the bike, that you feel comfortable on the bike, feel comfortable sitting a long fucking time on the bike. It's about the mental preparation. Okay, because I guarantee you, if you do something like that, you're going to be in a very dark place at some point. The thing that I took with me, and I took some literature that I read as a preparation, was a book by Mark Beaumont. It's a guy that did the circumnavigation of the globe in 80 days. like 78 something, doesn't matter. He did it in under 80 days. And he wrote a book on ultra endurance cycling and how to approach the stuff. And the things that I learned most from that book was the mental part. How do you deal with sleep deprivation? How do you deal with mental holes? How do you deal with the mental challenges, which in the end turned out to be the hard part. Surprise. And so let's start with the physical training, with the physical aspect of the stuff. Here you can see, I'm not sure if you can see, but in the first, this goes from 1st of February to May 31st. The reason why I cut everything under May 31st is because life got in the way. I'm organizing with other people the very wonderful and unique conference called Gulasch Programmiernacht in Karlsruhe, Germany. You should check it out. Shameless plug. But yeah, the GPN happened and I had no time for training. Then other shit happened and I had no time for training. And I thought, oh shit. I'm losing my fitness. I built over the first half of the year, I built up the fitness so perfectly, and after that it just went to shits. But let's stick to that, and let's assume I had time to continue training. So as you can see, in the first half of the year, I did volume. That means I did like a structured training plan. Mainly it was zone 2. That means it's the zone 2 is you put enough power into the pedals that you can still talk, like you can still hold a conversation without having to interrupt yourself to get air and stuff like that. So it's a low effort, a long and low effort. This is there to extend to improve your capability of burning fat, because with such a long endurance ride, fat burning is the one and only is the one thing you are aiming for. It's called fat max. I will talk about it a bit later. If you happen to speak German and want to know more about those details, Couch Sofa did an excellent talk on that topic in the last GPN. I can only recommend it. Unfortunately, it's in fucking German. But I heard VLC has good somewhat audio transcription translation tools. Thing is, you can give it a whirl if you don't speak German, but yeah, it's in German. Anyway, and so the first quarter more or less was just steady effort. I mean, it was winter, I was at home, I was watching movies, YouTube videos, whatever, sitting on my trainer and doing my 1.5 hour, 1 hour sessions with intervals and stuff like that. And you can see it's a really nice and steady rise until roughly April. In April, I went with some friends to Crete, where I'm from, where I originally grew up, which is a wonderful place to cycle, and did a training camp there. Basically, I was cycling around the mountains and my fitness went wee. And then I did a tour with Methodisch Inkorrekt. There is like a community of cyclists that found themselves over a podcast about physics. Don't ask, it just happened. Something pandemic, something Zwift, whatever. And we did a tour with those people, and this is the peak you can see here. For those people at home, it's the highest peak you can see on the screen. And then I also did it was a training camp by a triathlon group from Hamburg in the Harz Mountains. And I mean, people who know mountains, they would consider them hills, but whatever. It's hilly enough that I suffered, so it's fine. And that's the third peak you can see there. I would have liked to have more consistency, but I did have to remind myself repeatedly, I'm doing this I'm doing this to improve my quality of life, because it gives me something. I'm not doing this because I want to, because I'm getting paid or some shit like that. It's still a hobby, and it should still be fun and it should give me something, not drain me, right? So it went okay, the physical training. So another physical aspect of preparation is, what the fuck do you eat? I was looking at my plan, we will come to that later. I was looking at roughly 24 to 30 hours of cycling. And I would need, like, I did a fitness test, and the estimation, the measurement, it's a measurement with a very broad error, margin. So it's a solid estimate, let's put it that way, was that I need about around 75 grams of carbohydrates per hour. And I don't know if you understand how much 75 grams is. It's like a pack of Haribos every hour. The problem with Haribos is, let me mute my notifications because I'm being distracted. That's not what I wanted. Thank you very much. This is technical, due to technical difficulties. We will, there. Sorry, here, yeah. 75 grams per hour is in the ballpark of, if you eat something that has flavor, there is a very high chance that after 24 or 30 hours, if you need to eat 2 or 3 of those, and if you eat those gels that you can buy like from different brands, then first of all, you need a very high-paying IT job. Not a normal high-paying IT job, a very high-paying IT job to be able to afford that shit, on the one hand. On the other, then you would have your bag full of gels, and then, of course, what do you eat? The one that you like. And then in the end, when you need it the most, you have the ones that you don't want to see right now. Let's assume you bought like lemon and orange flavor, and yesterday you had orange pie. I will go to that later. So what did I do? I made my own mixture. This is the recipe. Go ahead, copy it. It's not copyrighted. It's basically, that's what the scientific consensus is, what's the best mixture, more or less the best mixture during the bike ride. Many times you see gels and stuff, they have like magnesium and vitamin B12 and left rotating orgone crystals and trilithium nitrate, or screw all that. If you do a short long effort, like if you do a multi-day thing, where you actually get into the point where you need proteins, you need those elements and so on and so forth. At that point, you will need to take care of that. But for everything up to 36 hours, I think, this is perfectly fine. With sweat, you mainly lose sodium. I did also have other foods, but we will come to that later. So I did have, so mainly you lose sodium, according to the papers that I read. And the fructose and maltodextrin mixture is because this mixture tastes like a whole lot of nothing. It's slightly sweet. I have here in this bottle, I have that mixture. If you have a cup with you, you can give it a try. It tastes like a whole lot of boring nothingness. It's slightly sweet. But as a testament to the quality of that stuff, after 36 hours, when I arrived here after 36 hours when I left, oh, by the way, I did it in one go. After 36 hours when I arrived here, I still drank from that bottle. I was not fed up with the taste. And I think this is a huge testament, and I would recommend exactly that mixture. So, 75 grams per hour, 24 hours. Let's say I would also have some other sources of carbohydrate, because I'm a human. I also need some flavor in my life. I'm not too German. I'm not full potato. I like flavor in my life. So what does that look? This all you see there is white powders, right? So I had a bag with me that had this content. They are like white, you know those things that you get drugs in? Yeah, if the police would have stopped me, I would have had some explaining to do, and I would have a shit-eating grin on my face when they tested everything negative. But yeah, it looks suspicious AF. This is literally what I consumed everything bear 3. So one of those 3 is in there. So yeah, that's it. And and before you start that, your body has a reservoir of carbohydrates. It's called glycogen. It's a derivative of carbohydrates, but it doesn't matter. And it's stored in the muscles and the liver. So how it goes? You eat during the day. Those reserves are being replenished, and then during the day you deplete them, and then you replenish them, but with the next meal, and so on and so forth. And if you don't deplete them and you replenish them too often, it gets stored as fat. Blah 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 blah. I don't have to explain that to anyone to anybody that doesn't have a magical. Metabolism. So, but if you cycle, you want those stores to be filled to the brim, and the standard measure for that is it was 10 grams of carbohydrates per kilogram of body weight. For me, I'm a rather big guy, a rather tall guy, and I'm not the thinnest in the bunch. Let's put it that way. On the mountain, I realize it very harshly. So that means for me, 1 kilogram of pure carbohydrates. I mean, I would have proper foods, but 1 kilogram of carbohydrates per day. This is the tooth that I issued, because literally I was feeling like a harvester. I was constantly eating, really constantly. I was like, I need to do 300 more today, and okay. And that was for 2 days. But I don't think I depleted them too hard. I didn't bonk. Bonking is the fabulous experience of not having carbohydrates and your body crying for help. I didn't have that, thankfully. So, thankfully also, I had support along the way. I had stations that I met, stations along the way. One was in Koblenz, the other, we will get to the route later. So stations along the way, and I asked them, look, people that I know from the hacker community, people that I know from the Methodisch Inkorrekt community, the podcast that I talked about earlier. And I asked them, look, if you want, I would be very glad if you could wait for me somewhere along the road. Like I visited hacker spaces, for example, 2 of them, and the other ones, they are cyclists anyway, so they met me on the road, and they rode a big part of it with me. And I told them, look, I would appreciate if you could hand me something that doesn't taste like, something that tastes like proper, something that resembles food. To have that flavor change, right? One guy brought me Haribos, another guy brought me 2 guys brought me like sandwiches, you know, the standard, the supermarket pre-packaged sandwiches. It was perfectly fine. The only word of caution in that regard: don't eat too much fiber, because fiber can clog up your digestive system, and then the carbohydrates cannot flow. And then you run into that infamous bonk that I mentioned earlier. So, one of them, this is me eating a sandwich with Adlerweb from Haxco in Andernach. That's along the Rhine River. They actually, I did share a tracking link. Some of you might have seen it on Mastodon. I shared a tracking link where people could see where I was at any point in time. And they put it on the big screen to know when I'm coming. Okay, fine, I guess. There are other TV programs that I would prefer, but let's go. Then there was Steffen, who met me along the road. and rode with me up to almost up to after Cologne. Then Fnottangang, that where some people were waiting for me. I'm on the Crumble, which he waited for me, although he had to get up early in the morning. I was delayed because I had the wind in my face the whole way up the Rhine. I've heard you had wind here too, huh? So 1 or 2 before or something like that. And this is Manuel, who received me at the he is German but works in the Netherlands, and received me at the Dutch border and just pushed me as far as I could go. And this was a really nice help mentally. But yeah, I had support, and in the end, at one point we were 5 people riding along each other, and the only thing that those people had in common that they knew me, and they decided to help me along and ride with us. I really, really appreciated that. It was, I wouldn't say I was close to tears, not really, but I was very moved by it, that people did such a thing. And with that, I have to open my notes here. I'm sorry about that. So, with that, I have to quote Steffen, who at one point said, "Yeah, of course we would come, because one who has to enable stupid but realistic ideas." And honestly, find people who do that for you, and you will be a very happy person, I think. Okay, now about the ride. What was the plan? Start around 9, 10-ish in Mannheim, where I live. Cycle something in the ballpark of 24 hours and arrive. Right? So, about the route. It went in Mannheim, and you see at one point all the meters, most of the meters of elevation of the whole trip. It was the plan was 560 kilometers. And the meters of elevation were like 1,300 something. So let's say it was not too. The meters of elevation were in my favor as a rather heavy guy. But most of it came through in the first part, because I took a shortcut along the. I took a shortcut for the Rhine River, because then it would have been like 640 kilometers or something. It would have been insane. Then I followed the Rhine up to Cologne. Then I went towards Neuss, and then I just went straight through. The plan was to go straight through to the wonderful camp here. So how did it go? Yeah. Start went well. The cycling for 24 hours, let's say it was optimistic. I was aware of that. It was a good case scenario. It was not the best case scenario. The best case scenario would have been 22 hours, but then I would have had the best legs of my life, the best, like everything would have to have been perfect for me to arrive in 22 hours. So, whatever, 24, 30, 36, whatever, I don't care. The important part is profit, to arrive and profit, whatever the profit is. I can tell you the biggest one was I arrived and somebody looked at me, "You look like shit, man." Thank you very much. I also love to give compliments. Actually it went. I wouldn't say the plan was to. The only optimistic part was the 24 hours, but I knew it was optimistic. Okay, it was not a moonshot, but you know what I mean. It was doable, but rather unlikely. So about the challenges. With challenges I mean things that I was expecting to be hard and actually were hard. Fueling. I have a bike computer on my bike, and I had a reminder every 15 minutes to drink. Drink for me means also eating. The problem was it was not that hot, and if you plan for a hot day and you plan the consumption of drinks according to a very hot day, and it's not that hot, you don't sweat as much. So the water has to find another way out. Let's put it that way. Many trees along the route are very happy to have been watered. At one point, I switched to 2 packs of the sugar in a bottle, so that I wouldn't have to pee as much. The concentration at one point, especially the worst part in terms of concentration was after Neuss up to the Dutch border. The landscape interchanges between farmhouses, fields, farmhouses, even more fields, and then maybe another farmhouse. So let's say the mental input was, you could also watch daytime television during that time. It would have been roughly the same mental input. And it happened actually that I was unconcentrated. I was with my mind somewhere. I was looking on the bike computer, whatever. I went a little bit off the bike path. There was a gradient. There was a slope towards a field. My front wheel catched that slope, and I had the choice: hit the deck on the bike path or go into on the cornfield. I went into the cornfield. With that said, I lost my wallet in that crash. It wasn't really a crash. It was a It was. I didn't crash. Okay, I fell over because the cornfield had soft mud in the had soft soil because it was raining the day before. So I sank in and I basically decelerated and went. And with that, because I have a bag here that is easy to access, and my fueling, and this bag and the wallet was in here. It fell out, and it was somewhere in the field in bumfuck nowhere. A colleague that came a few days later. I called that colleague, shit, I lost my wallet, I might know where it is, but my driver's license was in there, blah, blah, blah. And I told him, look, I think it was those coordinates. And then he calls me at one point, yeah, I got it. Do you have the coordinates? No, I got your wallet. And the other stuff that you lost. Oh yeah, there was also a USB cable and like a multi-tool or something. But those were not important. Even my driver's, even my ID card and stuff like that was not that important. The most important part was the driver's license because for me it's shit. It's bureaucracy on level 12 to get that back. But he found it and he brought it back. Technology man, and I love this community. I really love this community. That colleague is also part of the community, obviously. Then the sleep deprivation was hard. Like at one point, I realized I was a stupid idiot on a bike that could not look straight forward, and that's the point. And then I took the decision to lie down for 10 minutes on a bus stop and. You know those benches at bus stops that are basically woven metal that feel uncomfortable when you sit on them? I laid down on one of those bus stops. I was gone. I was done. I was away. Like I was that tired. But yeah, the sleep deprivation is something that also one thing that I forgot to buy. I did actually a caffeine. I didn't consume caffeine 1 month before the trip, and the problem was, the idea was that I get caffeine tablets, so that I can again know what the exact dosage is of what I'm consuming, so that I can ride through the night easier. Because if you are not used to caffeine, it kicks more, it helps more. Well, somebody forgot to buy the bloody caffeine pills. It was okay, but it would have been nice to have them at one. Like 2 or 3 of those were like 250 milligrams of caffeine would have been awesome at some points. And the bloody wind. Look, I know that usually the wind in the northern hemisphere comes from the west, especially in these parts. And yes, sometimes, especially in the flat in the Netherlands, it's hard. That's why I took the decision to go as much north as possible in the Netherlands. Because before that, it's a hilly landscape and it doesn't hit you as hard. Well, guess what? The Rhine is a funnel. And if the wind comes from the right direction, you are going with 18 kilometers per hour, and you cannot do anything about it. That sucked hard, and this took a lot. This wasted a lot of time in the Rhine Valley, especially in the Middle Rhine. It wasted a lot of time and made it hard to and stretched everything out, depleted resources, whatever. This was a very big issue, and I think this was the main reason why I didn't make the 560 kilometers was the wind in the Rhine Valley. I would have. I'm pretty sure I would have done it if it wasn't for the wind. Also, it's very demotivating if you have the wind in your face the whole, like for 150 kilometers. The only thing you see is wind. Yeah. Then the unchallenges, for lack of a better word. So what I mean with that, things that I thought would be an issue that didn't turn up to be an issue for some reason. The bike, perfect, nothing, no issues whatsoever. The chain didn't jump off didn't fall off. No punctures, no issues with the brakes, no issues whatever. The bike worked like a charm. This thing has like now 22,000 kilometers or something, and it still works like a charm. I did some heavy abusing of that bike, like I've crashed once or twice. Still works like a charm. I don't know. It's good. I'm not endorsing the manufacturer in any sense. I paid this with my own hard-earned money, but it works like a charm. I couldn't be happier. Then the contact points. With that I mean the pedals, the saddle, the handlebars. There was a slight issue that after some point my palms were hurting, because I mean you have vibrations the whole time. You're basically lying on your palms the whole time. It was a bit. I didn't use the aero bars too much, but. Yeah, the palms were the only issue in that regard. So I had a bike fit shortly before I did the trip, and that guy fixed many things that were annoying me. So if you plan something like that, invest in a bike trip in a bike fit if you can. Then the water. I had, as you can see, I have 2 bottles in the frame, 2 bottles in the back. This is like it's called the Aero Pack, and you have the possibility to mount things on the side. And the bottle, the water was I could ride 4 hours with that setup, and in 4 hours it's good to get off the bike and shake your legs up a little bit. And I mean, you also need to go to the toilet, you need to eat something, whatever. So it worked perfectly good, perfectly fine, the water. Which can be an issue, that you are somewhere and you don't have enough water with you, and then if you get dehydrated, you lost. Like, bonking is hard, dehydration is much worse in that regard. The unexpected, things that I didn't see coming. The support from the community. Honestly, I knew that people would be waiting for me. I knew that they would support me, but this amount of support, and then seeing it and riding with those people and being like in a group of 5 people that barely know each other, it was amazing. It was really moving. The 2 to 3 a.m. quiet, it was bliss. I had headphones, like I have headphones that go through the skull and not on the ears, so I can still hear traffic when I ride my bike. They should be in here. No, they're not. They're probably in my tent somewhere. Doesn't matter. If you look for bone conduction headphones, you will find them. And I even turned off the music. It was no car around. Everything was super quiet. It was pure bliss. It was amazing. And yeah, and the other one, the concentration hole, I forgot to write in there. The concentration hole was hard. Like to know that you to realize, and then with a soft crash, thankfully, that you are not paying attention. This, okay, what the fuck was I doing the last? The best explanation like the best analogy to that maybe you can relate to is if you are on a long distance highway, Autobahn in Germany. Long distance in the Netherlands is hard, right? France maybe, and it's night. It's a long straight road, and nobody's on the road. You're not paying attention anymore. And this I think is the best analogy. I was just spaced out. I wasn't even tired at that point. I was just spaced out. Okay, I was obviously a little bit tired, but you know what I mean. I wasn't so tired that I couldn't look straight. When I realized that, I went and slept, right? But I was just spaced out, and that was also very something that I didn't expect that should happen, and that you should keep in mind. So for that, there are also questions. But before we do that, if you want to have I want to limit this into questions. If you want to discuss afterwards, there will be a meetup at the tent over there, nearby, from the Cal Cycling Club. Wow, we are creative with the names. Where we can discuss details and stuff like that. But if you have questions for me right now, also I want to encourage you to ask them. Yes, Fraxin. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So you said you had to cut it short. Then how did you bridge the rest of the distance?
Yeah, of course. I went to a place south of Amsterdam that starts with B. I don't fucking remember what it's called. I don't remember, but it was, and then I took the train from there to Amsterdam, and then I took the train from Amsterdam to Alkmaar, and from Alkmaar I rode the bike here, but I was really barely scraping by. It's like, I don't know, 7 or 8 kilometers. I was doing it in a very easy pace. I think it was 80 kilometers per hour or something, which normally is a, can we move faster? Pace for me, but yeah. Yes.
What made you deciding to stop riding and taking the train?
I was spent. I think the biggest issue for me was I could not imagine myself riding another 4 hours. I didn't have that in me. I could not. I didn't see myself. I could not see myself doing it, and I think at that point. There was no point anymore. I just couldn't. I was mentally exhausted. I was mentally fried. And I said, okay, like, screw that. There are pictures of me eating poffertjes somewhere in that place where then I decided, okay, let's scrape here. Let's scrub this project here. Where I was eating poffertjes, I was I'm not joking. This was the picture. I tried to put a smile on my face, but you could see it was not real. Yeah.
So what was your average speed?
I think I didn't write that down. Bloody hell! Let me look that up.
And how many hours were it of cycling in this period?
Sorry, come again?
How many hours did you actually cycle?
I will look at my activity on this social media website that also happens to track sport stuff, called Strava. So the average moving speed was 22 kilometers per hour. The moving time was 21 hours and 43 minutes. Yeah. And the average power was 105 watts, and because we have it open, it was 11,000 calories, like kilocalories. Yeah. And the distance was 469 and 60 something, 600 and something meters. I think I can take the liberty of saying it's 470. Yes, please. Other question? Here.
Yes.
Sorry, I did not see you, sorry.
How tired were you the day after, and how do you recover from that?
Surprisingly, the biggest issue was the sleep deprivation, because I haven't slept for 36 hours. Okay, I think that was the main. If I would have done anything else, and I would have slept, would have been the same level of exhaustion, which lets me come to the conclusion that I actually did the fueling very right. The day after that, after I had something that resembled a sleep rhythm, I was fine. I was really fine. I could see myself getting on the bike again. Like, again, it was a sleep deprivation that was the biggest hurdle in that regard.
You have a question.
Yes.
How will you go back and when?
I will ride back in a car. Because the thing is, I was thinking, maybe I could ride back from the camp, but the problem is that I cannot do the preparation that I need to do such a feat. I cannot do it here. The carb loading, the taking care of the bike, the preparing everything, I cannot guarantee it to do it well here. So I refrain from that.
What kind of roads was it? Was it mostly bike paths or country roads?
I did mainly it was bike paths. I also did some sections on the road because the bike paths were shit. Everybody who has rode a bike in Germany understands exactly what I mean. And yeah, mostly I think mostly it was everything was tarmac. Okay, except for some sections that were gravel or something, but like very very super easy gravel, nothing too shabby. But yeah, I think most of the time I was riding bike paths without this being anything else than a vibe estimate.
How did you get all your stuff here? Like, did you have it all in the backpack or?
Oh, fuck no. 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 The hackerspace, I had a big car driving here, and I dropped my stuff in the hackerspace, and the stuff appeared here. No. With luggage and tents and shit like that, no. I don't think I could do it. There are people who can do it, but not me. I'm not one of them. Good question.
I'm coming.
How did you decide on your start time?
I would like to say based on vibes, but this is on the one hand true, on the other hand very very a very big oversimplification. I thought to myself, what is the time where I can get up without much stress? The optimization was I wanted to be rested when I get up, when I get on the bike. If I had to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, that wouldn't have worked. Okay, I had to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning anyway because I had to have the first breakfast. Because as a preparation, you need to have 2 breakfasts, one 3 hours before and one shortly before you start. Carbohydrates, glycogen stores and stuff like that. Because when you sleep, imagine that, you deplete your glycogen stores and you're not eating. At least I'm not. So I had to get up at 6, but I got up at 6, had my first breakfast, and then I lied on the couch and I was relaxing heavily, almost sleeping, but not quite because I was a bit anxious. But yeah, that was it. Like, what is a good time to get up? And then calculate from there when I would start. I mean, if it would have been 11 o'clock, I was not stressing to get started. If it would have been 11, it would have been 11 o'clock. Who fucking cares? It's, again, I'm doing this for me. I'm not doing this for anyone, and I want to talk, as I said, I wanted to talk here about it because I wanted to maybe inspire people to try something that they're not sure they can do. Because the worst thing that could happen is, oh, it didn't work out. Okay. I mean, please don't throw yourselves off cliffs, okay? Use some sensible thoughts before you attempt something. But if it's somewhat realistic, and I have to quote my friend there, one has to enable stupid ideas that are somewhat possible. So, yeah. And one last thing. I want to thank the people that rode with me, the people that waited for me along the road, the people that supplied me with all the sugars and all the fats and all the deliciousness along the road. And those are Till, Adlerweb, Steffen, Christopher, Olli, Crumble, and Manuel. And yeah, thanks for your time. And as I said, we will have a small meetup at our village. It's right over there.